Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 5 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 5-minute time check, stations. Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 2 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 2-minute time check, stations. Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 1 minute from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 1-minute time check, stations.
on the Hawkeye Sports Network from Learfield. Live from View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Iowa City. This is Hawk Talk, brought to you by Steel. This fall, power up with Steel, a proud supporter of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. U.S. Cellular, the official wireless partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes. U.S. Cellular, built for us. Iowa Corn. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Brought to you by Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. Your Iowa John Deere dealers. John Deere loves to see the Hawkeyes do their thing, because if anyone can appreciate building a legacy, it's Deere. Also brought to you by your local Ford dealers. University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Lennox and your local Lennox home comfort specialist, made right here in Iowa since 1895. And by Mid-American Energy. Mid-American Energy is proud to deliver affordable, reliable energy to you all season long. This is Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz. Here's Gary Dolphin.
Good evening, everybody. The bye week is over, and Hawkeye football is back on the field preparing for the Wisconsin Badgers Saturday night up in Madison. Yeah, another night game. 4 night games now for the Hawkeyes out of 6, but that's okay. The Hawks look pretty good in the dark, huh? 6 o'clock kickoff. We'll take air here on the Hawkeye Radio Network at 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Believe it or not, we're halfway through the season with this game coming up on Saturday. It's amazing how time flies. And it's a trophy game. At stake is the Heartland Bowl Trophy, a border battle, and a trophy game for the 3-2 Hawkeyes and the Badgers of Wisconsin, who sit at 2-3 at the moment. Good evening and welcome into Hawk Talk. I'm Gary Dolphin. We're live at View Rooftop on the 12th floor, way up on top of the building, the top of the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Iowa City, for the next 90 minutes of Hawk Talk with Iowa football coach Kirk Ferentz. And we're so delighted that you joined us. Punching the buttons, keeping us on the air, engineer, producer Corey Sheets. He's at the controls, and KCRG Channel 9.2 is beaming our show around a generous portion of Iowa. Thank you to producer Aaron Rooney and her crew. And we invite you to join us throughout the evening. You can check in with us right now on a number of platforms. If you have a question or a comment for Coach Ferentz, you can reach us on Twitter at Gary Dolphin, on Facebook at facebook.com/Voice of the Hawks. That's facebook.com/Voice of the Hawks. We have a U.S. Cellular text line that's awaiting your call, 319-853-8344, 319-833, or 853, 8344, 853-8344. And you can even email us your question to hawktalk at hawkeyeradionetwork.com, hawktalk at hawkeyeradionetwork.com. When last we talked on Hawk Talk, the Hawkeyes were getting ready for the Indiana Hoosiers over at Kinnick Stadium on a beautiful homecoming weekend. The Hoosiers escaped town with a last-minute touchdown for a 20-15 victory. The Hawkeyes lost the game and a quarterback for most of that fourth period, as you well know. It's well documented by now. Mark Gronowski suffered a leg injury. He's been cleared to play on Saturday and is listed in the 2 deep. He's been on the practice field. How many snaps he's getting, how much he's worked out, we'll get the latest from Iowa coach Kirk Ferentz when he arrives. And how Hank Brown has been getting a lot of the snaps in practice. Kirk can update us on Gronowski's situation when he arrives. The Hawkeyes had hoped to get a couple of other valuable pieces back following the bye week from injury. So we'll get an update on Reese Vandersee, outstanding wide receiver. He hasn't played at all. He hasn't played it down this season, suffering a foot injury in the last week of practice before opening day. Running backs, Jazz Patterson, Xavier Williams, they both missed the Indiana game. So much to get caught up on here in the last couple weeks, at least on the injury front. And from here on out, it's all hands on deck. The Hawkeyes have won 3 straight over Wisconsin in this series and is looking for its first 4-game winning streak in the battle with the Badgers since 2002 through 2006. I mean, you got to go back to the Robert Gallery, Brad Banks era to find the last time the Hawks have won 4 in a row. And it's been a great series. As you know, I don't have to explain to you folks about Wisconsin if you follow Iowa football. Barry Alvarez was there for a lot of years. Of course, Barry, a Hall of Fame coach on Hayden Fry's original staff here. The Hawkeyes had lost 4 straight to Wisconsin before winning 3 in a row and 4 of the last 5. So back and forth we go. The series is extremely tight. Wisconsin overall has won 49 times. The Hawkeyes 47 times. There have been 2 ties. Iowa all-time at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison is 20, 29, and 1. And last year, the Hawks, for the most part, dominated the Badgers 42-10 at Kinnick Stadium. That 32-point margin of victory was Iowa's largest in the series since 1996 when they shut out the Badgers 41-0. Keys to Saturday's game, keys to a Hawkeye victory. Well, let's start with special teams. Iowa's punt return unit is tops in the nation, averaging 33 yards a game, while the kickoff return unit is 14th. And, of course, right in the middle of both is Caden Weege, and he's number 1 in the country in combined kick return yards. And in his press conference earlier this week, Wisconsin coach Luke Fickell, I think the special teams might have come up first from Luke. He is very aware and very concerned about what Caden Weege can do and how he can change the flow of a game in the blink of an eye. So to me, that's a huge key, especially on the road, going to a tough place to play at Camp Randall on Saturday. Caden Weege will be in the hunt for player of the game honors. The Iowa offensive line is a very good one, as we know. This is a really good Wisconsin defense again, and so the Hawkeyes of Wisconsin has played the 3-5, 3-4 in the past. So again, it's there'll be some interesting matchups for the Iowa offensive line. The Iowa defensive front advantage: Aaron Graves and Ethan Herkett and Max Llewellyn and the rest of that group that puts their hand in the dirt. I think Iowa has the advantage there against a Wisconsin offensive line, and here's why: the Badgers have been beat up a lot. In fact, in their 6 games, they started 5 different offensive lines. Some of the same personnel, but either different positions or different starters. But they've not had the same 5 guys start hardly at all. So those are some of the things that I've been studying this week and getting ready for this game. The Hawks 3-2. Wisconsin is 2-3. Want to welcome you into View Rooftop as we do each and every game week for Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz. We're here every Wednesday night from 6:30 until 8. You can stop by, though, as well on football Saturdays to View Rooftop and enjoy a unique experience to Iowa City. An invigorating environment with comfortable contemporary indoor and outdoor seating. High-definition televisions for watching the game. They've got a lot of them around the room and outside. We have an outdoor bar and patio that you can catch a great panorama view, and it's a panoramic view. It's a beautiful night in Iowa City, about 65 degrees and not a cloud in the sky. And so that sun is setting. Great view here at View Rooftop. Why wouldn't it be? Live music also every weekend. Game day specials on Saturday. Enjoy the camaraderie and celebrate with a toast at View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn in Iowa City. Call for reservations. The number is 319-519-4650. 319-519-4650. When we come back after our first time out, we're going to have a special guest, Deputy Director of Athletics and the Chief Operating Officer at the University of Iowa Athletic Department. Joe Parker joins us here shortly. As for the game on Saturday, Cade Pieper, who's in his first year starting, he's been around a couple of years. He's experienced this Wisconsin rivalry.
It's a trophy game, so it's going to have a lot of intensity, but that's every game. Every game is a challenge, especially being in the Big Ten. There's no, givens, so it's going to be a fun challenge for us, especially on the road. I feel like every game is a make or break game for us. It's just every game's a challenge. We go out there with the opportunity to win, and that's our goal every time.
Cade is a mongrel. 6'4", 295 pounds, a sophomore from Norfolk, Nebraska Catholic High School, and he has stepped right in. And you could see this guy coming on a lot last year in practice with the reps he was getting in the two deeps. And he is eager and energetic and willing to learn off every snap. So he and Bo Stevens will be really, really important to that Iowa inside zone run game against that tough Wisconsin defense coming up Saturday. Sam Phillips really emerged in that Indiana game. He's been coming on strong in the first 5 games of the season. Sam is the transfer from Chattanooga, and he talks about the program's mental approach coming out of the bye week.
I would just say, like, just going back to what we know, you know what I'm saying, tough, physical, strong, smart, you know what I'm saying, like, not getting out of our frame of, like, oh, we lost, like, and then we have a bye week, you know, like, not getting lackadaisical, just hone in on the details, you know what I'm saying. Coach Ray, Coach Ferentz, like, all the coaches, the whole staff reminds us every day, like, focus on the details, you know what I'm saying, don't lose sight of what's in front of us.
Young freshman running back Nathan McNeil has gotten a few snaps. He's carried 18 times, a 5-yard average, no touchdowns. He's had a 17-yard run, and he was filling in, I thought, admirably for Kamari Moulton when Kamari wasn't available, Xavier Williams, and then Jazz Patterson. So this young running back is really solid. And he talked about Omar Young.
It was tough at first, just like I didn't really see that going like that, but the new coach Omar Young came in. He was great from the start to now. So like it's been easy because he made it easy. But first when he came here, he talked to everybody. He was like how he runs stuff and stuff. And then like after that first meeting, I could tell like he knows what he's talking about. Like just by off of everything he does, coming from the NFL, just talking about like the little things. So that's what I liked about him.
Nathan McNeil referring to Iowa running backs coach Omar Young. Omar came over from the NFL. He's been at a number of stops in the National Football League. And watching him in practice, let me tell you, his big deal is blocking. If you're a running back, you have to block. We want you to block, knock the guy into next week. And the Iowa backs, I think, are much better at that. And due in large part to Omar Young, Hawkeye running back coach. Now, McNeil is a solid 5'11", 205-pound freshman. True freshman, by the way, from Tampa. And he's going to get more snaps. The problem is they've got 5 quality running backs and 1 football. And so it's tough to rotate those guys in there. But at least for this year, it's going to be, if he's healthy, Jazz Patterson, certainly Kamari Moulton. Moulton has rushed 35 times for 165 yards and a touchdown, averaging 4.7 a carry. And then Terrell Washington Jr. is kind of a combo back. He can be a receiver, but they're trying to slot him at tailback. So they're very strong at the tailback running back position if all are healthy and upright. All right, we're going to step out, take our first break, and when we come back, special guest as usual here in this first half hour on the Hawkeye Radio Network and Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz from Learfield and View Rooftop. Back in a minute.
Fall's the season for game plans and for powering through your to-do list with Steel. Whether you're mulching leaves or trimming back before winter, Steel tools help you finish strong. Trusted by pros, built for you. Steel, proud supporter of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Can you think of anything that costs the same today as it did 10 years ago? There isn't much. That is, unless you're a Mid-American Energy customer. Thanks to all the renewable energy we're generating, our customers pay nearly the same rate for electricity today as they did back when we were all singing, "Call Me Maybe." And with Mid-American making even more investments in clean energy, you can count on enjoying those same affordable rates for the next decade. Now that's obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Hey Hawkeyes, this is Coach Ferentz. We're excited about the football season. Iowa Corn is pumped up for their season and their partnership with the Hawkeyes. When you drive to the game, support Iowa's corn farmers by selecting unleaded 88 at the pump. It's a fuel choice that's cheaper, homegrown, and better for the planet. It's worth the hype. Get pumped up with unleaded 88. Let's go Hawks.
We love it when the Hawkeyes do their thing, because if there's anyone who can appreciate building a legacy, it's John Deere. We've been growing our team since 1837, recruiting the best thinkers, doers, and makers to craft innovations that outpace the competition. Because whether it's cultivating the earth with a tractor or reshaping it with a 40-ton excavator, the machines we build are building America. Nothing runs like a Deere.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Let's break it down. Innovative tech means smarter and safer driving. Intelligent all-wheel drive will keep you ready for anything. And built Ford tough trucks will always get the job done. Plus, come into your local Ford store today and get super low APR financing, big cash back, and great lease offers on Ford's full line of cars, trucks, and SUVs. That's Ford, and that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on calendar year sales.
Entertain your clients or employees each home game in Hawkeye Village. Presented by Navigate Wellbeing Solutions. Packages include game tickets and catered food and beverage. Visit HawkeyeSports.com for more details. As a proud partner of Hawkeye Football, Navigate Wellbeing Solutions is an employee engagement company helping organizations create more health and happiness in the communities they serve. Learn more at NavigateWell.com.
Hawk Talk is live each and every Wednesday night from View Rooftop. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for coming out tonight. We've got a great live audience as usual, and they're watching in on the Hawkeye Radio Network, courtesy of KCRG, Channel 9.2. Erin Rooney with her team of Deke and Mike here. Beautiful setup each and every Wednesday night. The lights are bright, but we can handle that, as can Joe Parker. Joe is a Deputy Director of Athletics, the Chief Operating Office, COO. I'd like to call you the COO, the bean counter. And you're counting a lot of beans, at least hopefully, these days, Joe.
We're pretty busy right now. It's been, I've been on board now for 15 months, and it's been nonstop. All great and all exciting, but we are busy. No shortage of things to do.
You came here, you were the athletic director of Colorado State. By way of introduction, for those of you who may have heard the name but want to know a little bit more about Joe, you've been at some outstanding institutions where academics and athletics intertwine. Oklahoma, Michigan, Colorado State. Now you're at Iowa. You've been to other great institutions. Were you at Texas?
Yeah, that's where I started my career.
Started your career at Texas. So those are three football juggernauts, first off. But so you're used to managing a lot of funds at a lot of different institutions of different sizes. What impresses you about Iowa after 15 months?
Yeah, just what you kind of started with. I love the balance of excellence in athletics and academics. It seems like that's what Iowa's been all about since inception. Being a member of the Big Ten is an important thing, particularly now, as we all are kind of trying to get to higher ground where we have resources to manage, the new model of college sports. So Iowa feels pretty good. It's a good place, great place. Love Iowa City.
Joe, let's start at the top. The buzzwords or buzz slogans or buzz acronyms are Rev Share, NIL, transfer portal. We've got that window down to one now, one window, which is in at least January. That's a proposal. So athletes are not jumping around, 2-3 times a year or every other semester. Iowa has created this revenue, hopefully a lot of revenue mechanism called flight funds, and it benefits all athletics at Iowa, but primarily men's and women's basketball, football, and wrestling. So let's start at the top. What was the genesis that created this program?
Yeah, between FY25 and FY26, we had to step up our budget to match the needs of our student athletes and basically place in a new line item that was $20.5 million to share revenue with select roster members. And, just by virtue of doing that, we did it by, making some adjustments in our past budgeting practices. We did it by charging all of the revenue generating areas of the department with incremental revenue obligations. So we've done some different things with our pricing models on tickets. We've have a great relationship with Learfield, which is Hawkeye Sports Properties, and we extended our agreement with them, and that meant more revenue. But there'd been a practice in the last 3-4 years with the Swarm, the collective, that they had a nonprofit side that's something that's probably not going to be permissible in the new model. And so with our relationship with Center for Advancement and our fundraising team that's embedded in that group with Kevin Collins and his team, we launched Flight Funds, and that was something that could allow for people that want to be supportive of the Hawkeyes to make a direct investment in the model that's going to provide additional resources to our student athletes above, the traditional scholarship. So, we're not trying to raise $20.5 million, but the goal is a robust one. We're looking to raise, about $4 million to supplement, the whole package that I just described on what's putting us in a position to share those dollars with our student athletes and really kind of centrally purchase their NIL rights, so to speak. So that's what we've been doing with that effort. It's gone pretty well. We're excited about it. We're on a really good pace, and we need to kind of bring those dollars in by June 30th, which is the close of our fiscal year.
June 30th of 26.
26.
Yeah, gotcha.
That's right. Yep.
I write out a check to Flight Funds. As I understand it, you've got 4 or 5 buckets of money that you can specify what sport you want to support, or you can put it in a general fund, correct?
Yeah. Beth Getz, our director of athletics, wanted to provide some flexibility for people that have historically supported our department. People have an affinity for particular programs. Obviously, football is the economic engine that pulls the train. So football has a dedicated flight fund. Both basketballs do as well, and then wrestling will and has a flight fund, and then I think we're going to be opening up one for volleyball. Just that program, the Big Ten. I think to give our volleyball program a chance to be competitive, we need to start making some investments in that roster as well.
So I'm a season ticket holder, basketball and football, and I get priority points, season tickets, based on where you sit and other bennies. So for supporters who already give through the iClub, how do Flight Fund donations differ? Can fans still earn priority points?
You can. So an iClub contribution, if it's linked to priorities, meaning it's helping you establish the ticket location that you want and the parking that you want, those gifts are not tax deductible. That was taken away by the IRS, I think in 2018. So Flight Funds are a totally philanthropic commitment. They're tax deductible, but we're also allowing people to accumulate priority points. So if they want to apply those points, which they will automatically, that will help them if they're interested in bowl game tickets, upgrading their current season ticket location. When we assign away game tickets for football or the other programs, all that is done via the priority point program to kind of establish sort of an order in which we're going to fill with the available inventory. So that's what makes priority points important, and Flight Funds help you accumulate those.
So for the everyday Hawkeye fan who wants to contribute a check regardless of value, what's the simplest way to get involved, and are there different giving levels?
Not within Flight Funds. I mean, there's no kind of, categories of giving, so it's more of, what matches your interest, what matches your capacity. Obviously, the bigger your gift, the more you're helping the Hawkeyes.
Impact.
Yeah, more impact.
Absolutely.
With the Flight Funds too, we've been asking people to consider, a multi-year commitment as well. So, what could you pledge over 3 years? What could you pledge over 5 years? But make it an annual commitment. We've kind of approached it 2 ways too. So we've focused the advancement team, the A team, on kind of what we would call higher end leadership gifts, and then even crossed over into kind of that major gift capacity where we've asked people that that have historically supported the Hawkeyes with capital projects and endowments to consider making Flight Fund contributions.
Well, the bottom line is if the Hawks are going to hang in there with the Ohio States and Michigans and Penn States of the world, you got to raise money to keep all of our sports competitive.
It's no different. We still have the traditional student athlete experience. It's important, so we want to make sure that we're funding scholarships, that we're funding capital projects, that the operating budgets of all of our programs are robust. We need flexibility with, Beth likes unrestricted contributions to the AD discretionary fund because that gives her a chance to fill gaps when when unexpected things happen or we want to make a strategic investment, that's a resource for her. But flight funds are part of that, mix, and that's one of our priorities too.
Easiest way to find flight funds, Hawkeyesports.com?
Yeah, Hawkeyesports.com. There's a navigation bar at the top that can put you right into that space where you can make a gift online, or you can contact really anyone in athletics, and we're going to be able to make you a direct referral to someone on the A team and help you kind of navigate that.
Make the check out to Joe or to flight
No,
funds?
sir. No. Got to make it up to the University Center for Advancement.
I knew that'd get your attention anyway.
Yep.
Joe Parker, great to see you. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, you bet, Dolph. Thanks.
There he is, Deputy Director of Athletics, Joe Parker, Chief Operating Officer of the University of Iowa. That's it. Flight funds. Get that hawk higher in the air, 20,000 foot level, and join us for our Flight Funds fundraising campaign. Please support it between now and the end of June in 2026 when the fiscal year ends. Thanks to Joe Parker for coming by. Got to know Joe a lot over the last year and a half. A terrific individual in terms of where he's at with the University of Iowa and what he means to the athletic department and the fundraising mechanism, which, as you know, is if you're going to keep up with the Joneses, you got to have the funds to do that for our 23 sports and some 600 athletes at the University of Iowa. All right, we're talking football from here on out. Do have a couple of basketball mentions, and we'll mention the Hawkeye Huddle coming up in Madison, too. If you're headed to the game, and a lot of you will be burning rubber heading up Highway 151-61 to Madison on Saturday to support the Hawkeyes. There's a huge Hawkeye Huddle coming up. We'll get to that when we come back after our next break. We're at View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City at the top of the Hilton Garden Inn, and we're glad you could join us here on Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz. Coach will be here shortly. Every great season starts with a strong foundation. For farmers, that foundation is a healthy soil. And at Hawkeyes, we're restoring life to the soil with over 800 species of microbes, helping grow stronger crops, more profitable farms, and healthier communities. Hawkeyes, the future of farming starts here. Learn more at hawkeyes.com. And you can entertain your friends, clients, or employees at the next home game in Hawkeye Village, presented by Navigate Well-Being Solutions. Navigate packages include game tickets and catered food and beverages. Visit Hawkeyesports.com for more details. Navigate Wellbeing Solutions is an employee engagement company helping organizations create more health and happiness in the communities they serve. Learn more at NavigateWell.com. NavigateWell, WELL.com. We'll see you at Hawkeye Village for Penn State coming up a week from Saturday. But work to be done between now and then as the Hawks head to Wisconsin on Saturday to take on the Badgers. 6 o'clock kick here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. 4 o'clock for our airtime. We're back to View Rooftop in Iowa City right after this on Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz from Learfield.
Hello, Hawkeye fans. This is Bruce Gerlman, and I own Jethro's Barbecue. Have you heard the news? It's really big news. Jethro's Barbecue is now open in Coralville. That's right, across from the Hawkeye softball diamonds on the Coralville Strip. Jethro's is your game day headquarters. Call ahead and order your tailgate barbecue from Jethro's. Before the game, during the game, after the game, stop in Jethro's and eat my amazing slow smoked wings and my world-famous baby back ribs.
Iowa fans, with US Mode from US Cellular, you can keep your eye on the game, not on your screen. Whether you're inside the stadium, tailgating in the lots, or listening to the game at home, US Cellular wants you to focus on genuine connections with your family, friends, and fellow Hawkeye fans. That means at game time, you should do less growling and more cheering. So eliminate distractions and build connections by setting your phone to US Mode, because game day is for cheering on the Hawkeyes. Go Hawks! US Cellular, built for us.
Hello, Iowa. Here's a promise. Wherever you are in this great state, University of Iowa Healthcare is here for you, even if you never walk through our doors. Educating, caring, leading research, sharing our expertise with all. Because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
The silly moments, the proud moments, even the hard moments. They're what make life remarkable. And they're why Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield is here for every moment. Committed to making healthcare better, more affordable, with more choices for care. And service and coverage that give you peace of mind no matter what comes your way. So you can show up for every tender moment, every brave moment, and every wouldn't miss it for the world moment, knowing that Blue is here for you. Go to Wellmark.com/every moment to find a plan right for you.
You asked for all the extreme internet performance at an all-in price, and we listened. Get 1 gig internet with a 2-year price lock and everything included. Unlimited data for non-stop streaming, powerful Wi-Fi for enhanced coverage, built-in online threat protection, and internet equipment. All for just $65 a month for 2 years. It's the extreme 1 gig internet deal you asked for. Call 844-4FASTER or visit extreme.com for details.
Offer available to new customers only. Price doesn't include one-time charges, tax, and government fees.
Hawkeye fans, elevate your game day with the Kennick Premium Tailgate presented by Navigate Wellbeing Solutions. Imagine your own 10x10 tent and prime parking pads, all inside Krause Family Plaza, the closest tailgating to the stadium. Enjoy the energy, the atmosphere, and the convenience of being just steps away from kickoff. Secure your Kennick Premium Tailgate today at HawkeyeSports.com/tailgate. Make every game day unforgettable with the Kennick Premium Tailgate presented by Navigate Wellbeing Solutions.
Hawk Talk is live on the Hawkeye Radio Network, and thank you all for joining us tonight at View Rooftop, downtown Iowa City at the Hilton Garden Inn. We've got all the baseball playoff games on. Let's see, the Cubs are hanging on against the Brewers. It's 4-3 in the 8th inning. Let's see, the Brewers are batting. They got a couple guys on base, so the Cubs trying to keep that series alive. The Yankees in Toronto are 1-1 early on in that game. And earlier today, the first game out of the gate, the Detroit Tigers rallied for a win 9-3 over Seattle. So that will go to a game 5 out in the Great Northwest coming up on, I believe it's Friday. Excuse me. And then later tonight, the Dodgers can close out the Phillies with a victory. College football, the Hawkeyes are at Wisconsin on Saturday. Wisconsin's had a lot of injuries at the quarterback position. Not sure who's going to start. Billy Edwards, who was leading the Big Ten in passing a year ago when Iowa went to Maryland. And Edwards, he was gimpy then, but he re-injured himself in that game. Left and didn't play much the rest of the year. He's a young guy who can wing it now. I'm told he's available. How much he might play is anybody's guess. The Badgers have a couple different quarterbacks in their rotation, and Hunter Simmons transferred in from Southern Illinois. He's a redshirt senior. He played last week at Michigan. He's thrown 1 touchdown, 1 interception, completing 66% of his passes. Billy Edwards was the projected starter at the start of the year out of Maryland, transfer from Maryland, and Danny O'Neill, sophomore out of Indianapolis, is the third quarterback in the rotation. So we'll get some insight from Coach Ferentz when he gets here. In fact, he's walking in the door as we speak. But in the meantime, let's hear from Cohen Ontringer, one of Iowa's outstanding defensive backs. This young safety came to town from Michigan a couple of years ago, and he's really evolved into a quality Big Ten safety and cashback.
Cohen, it's been nice. It's a bye week. Before we talk about the Badgers and the task at hand, how was the bye week? Did you have any fun? What did you want to get accomplished maybe during the bye week, both on and off the field?
Oh, yeah. The bye week, obviously it's a great opportunity to rest your body. We had been going for quite some time, obviously the 4 weeks before fall camp, and then the 5-game, block. So, it's a little bit taxing on the body, but it was a great opportunity just to look at the film. And as Coach Wood says, reflect, retool, and refine, your skills. And so I just took some time just to look at the little things, that I may be missing out on, whether it's, not having my eyes in the right spot pre-snap, having my eyes in the right spot, when playing man-to-man. And I think it's just a great opportunity to refine your skills because, the opponents, they're looking at every mistake you make and they're going to try and, take advantage of that, on Saturdays. So, it's just a great opportunity, just to get better at football. What better could you ask?
It is back to work now. You look at Wisconsin, another night game. What do you guys see from the Badgers, a team that may be struggling record-wise, but you know the rivalry, you know that program, you know that place you're going to play. What do you expect from the Badgers on Saturday night?
Oh yeah, no, I expect a tough physical game. And this game's got to be more physical than this past game, Indiana. We got to bring it to them because they're going to be some big, tough guys who are ready to kick our behind. And to their credit, they've lost some games, but they haven't lost games by incredible margins. And I think we even saw last week. Your record means nothing in the Big Ten. This is the and I thank God every single day, and I'm just so blessed, to play in the Big Ten, the best conference in America, and I'll stand by that. This is the toughest conference. We got the best teams, with the toughest dudes and the toughest elements. So, I'm excited just to go out to Camp Randall, play a night game. And it's going to be a Big Ten rivalry, just tough, smart physical football, and most importantly, we've got to do it together to get that win.
There you have it. Cohen Ontringer talking with our Matt Randazzo, who anchors our first hour of coverage each and every game day. And you can hear more of Matt's interview with Cohen Ontringer Saturday on our Hawkeye Tailgate Show live from Big Grove. That starts at 4 o'clock. Coach Jan Jensen will come by also. Iowa women's basketball sold out, completely sold out for their games this year at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Why not? Who doesn't want to watch Iowa women's basketball? Hannah Stolke named preseason All Big Ten first team. Bennett Sturtz, All Big Ten first team. The outstanding year he had last year at Drake and came to Iowa for his final year. And we'll talk more about that as basketball is right around the corner. I know Coach Ferentz is a huge basketball fan. You don't get a chance to attend many games with your schedule in November and December. This crazy schedule, the sports overlap a lot. I remember the days when basketball didn't start till like the middle of December. Back in Don Nelson's era, it's a different world though.
That's going back a few years there.
That goes back a few years. Yeah,
I remember Don Nelson, but not in college. But that's changed for sure. And then the other most recent thing, at least to me, is it used to be the Big Ten play started New Year's Eve or around New Year's, and now. If I remember correctly, I think it was in December last year.
Early December.
So, yeah, everything's just kind of moved forward, and that's the nature of sports, just college sports in general. A lot of exposure to it, and certainly a lot going on our campus at all times.
Can't get enough of it, as they say. And, of course, a lot of excitement around Coach McCullum coming in for his first year as men's coach. But Hawkeye women's basketball certainly is at the top of the mountain right now. How about the young guy we just heard from, Coach Cohen Ontringer, as a young man out of Ypsilanti, and hard to believe he's a junior. I know he's had to battle a lot of injuries early on in his career, but man, what a football player, what an athlete.
Really is. First of all, just a really outstanding young guy. You get the vibe from him during his interview. He's got a great personality, very infectious, highly respected by all of his teammates. And to your point, yeah, he's had some tough breaks injury-wise, but really good prospect. Kind of interesting. Was more of a soccer player early in his high school career, and then transitioned over to football. And I'm sure he was good in soccer, but I think he's probably got more upside on the football field. And has already done a really good job. And with each game, each snap, you just see him getting better out there. There's nothing like experience, and he's got everything else going for him. So doing a great job, and certainly good to have him back there in our secondary.
Let's pause 10 seconds. We'll get back with Kirk here in a minute. 10-second ID break here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. We're live at View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn, downtown Iowa City. 10-second station identification. You're listening to Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz. Hawkeye Radio Network, 50 stations strong. We thank all of our affiliates for carrying Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz. I want to go back to Cohen Ontringer. He and Zach Lutmer have really evolved into quite the combination. You can play both of them at the same time, multiple positions, or alternate them.
Yeah, they're both very, very talented. Cohen's really got the ideal size and athleticism to be a safety. Bigger guy, got really good size, good range, and then Zach's a really interesting guy too. We obviously knew a little bit more about him early on, being from our state, and just a really good athlete, and really probably could play any of the 5 positions in the back end, either corner I think he could do just fine out there if we needed him. But he's really versatile in the inside, could play either safety, and then the cash position, which is really over the years grown to be a really prominent position in our defensive scheme. Castro played there, Cooper played there, so it takes a little bit almost an amphibious type guy to play in there, and he's done a really nice job in all those spots.
Coach, let's back up a week and a half ago. Take us through the bye week. Guys needed rest. They needed a break. They needed some relaxation, and hopefully you've got some of those injured players, the ones that we have seen, ones that we haven't seen so far, back and ready to go for Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's amazing. First of all, it feels like it was about 3-4 weeks ago when we played last. It's funny how you take a little break and it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a lot of distance between the game and today. But the reality is, had we had to play last Saturday, we probably would have been missing a handful of guys. It was really a physical game, very toughly contested, and we would have been a little bit short. But good news is a lot of guys have really used that week to have a chance to recover, regroup a little bit. And the guys that were injured, I think, have really benefited from that time away. So our plan was really pretty simple: was to rest the guys that have been playing. We got guys up in the multiple hundreds in terms of snaps, reps. Think about 4 weeks of camp, 5 weeks of competition. So I wanted to give those guys a chance to just to recharge a little bit and get their bodies healthy, and then also give us an opportunity to work the guys that haven't played much and work them in our system offensively, defensively, and special teams, and keep moving them forward. And and really it's kind of two-phase. You have told the guys a week ago Tuesday that we got guys sitting in the room right now that probably don't see this coming, but they'll be playing here sometime this month or certainly in November. Because it's just the way it is. It's just the way it goes. So gave those guys a chance to move forward. Then there are other guys that maybe won't play at all this year or won't play a lot of reps. But, you're always racing against the clock, and it's all about trying to improve. So when you do get your opportunity to be on the game field, you're ready to go. And so it's any chance you get to work on football skills, it's a good thing. And I thought the guys did a really good job a week ago with that. And then we gave them some time off over the weekend, certainly, and got back together on Sunday. So we've so far had a good week. It's Wednesday night right now, and all the heavy lifting is done. The guys have a day to recover tomorrow, and then work out on Friday morning. So hopefully we can finish the week out and be ready to go when we get in the bus to go to Madison.
Kirk, how about Mark Gronowski? He got hurt in the fourth quarter of the Indiana game, did not come back. I see he's cleared to play. What's that mean? Yeah, so a week ago plus, I was not overly optimistic. Obviously, a player comes out of the game and can't go back in. That's never a good thing. Appreciate he was candid and just said, I don't think I can play effectively. Couldn't decelerate. So, kept him out. And good news is, it's a step-by-step process, but the medical exams were favorable. Then there's imaging testing that they do that took, I think, until Monday afternoon. And again, everything was very favorable. So he got cleared from that standpoint. He's got a stable joint, all those types of things. And then, in essence, what it is, it's, what the symptoms are and what he can do and can't do. So a week ago, he had some swelling, that type of thing. And he spent a lot of time with the trainers. And the trainers, they have a full-time job in season. Seems like all year round now. But anyway, he made a lot of progress last week. And then was on the field, I guess, Monday. And surprisingly, it didn't look bad. And then he's had a couple good days here back-to-back. So, no flare-ups this morning. We came out, nothing from yesterday, no, swelling or soreness. And we'll see where it is. And the biggest component right now, he's practiced just fine. And what's his confidence level, make sure that feels good and all that type of thing. We don't want to put a guy out there if he's not confident he can play at a high level. So we'll let him help us on that. But, right now it's realistic to think he'll play. Nothing's written in granite or, in ink right now, but we'll see how it goes the rest of the week. But at least some room for optimism. Yeah, we got a good look at Hank Brown, and you've elevated Jeremy Hecklinski, the transfer from Wake Forest. So you've got some depth. You'd prefer Mark to be 100% healthy, but it's good to know when you look over your shoulder, you got two guys that have taken snaps. Yeah, you always want your starters in there if at all possible. And, they've risen to that level because of their performance, and especially at that position, the experience is so important. But one good thing about last week is that both the days we worked pretty extensively, it gave both Hank and Jeremy
an opportunity to take all the snaps, basically. And so everything went to those two guys and really gave them a good week of working in the system and smoothing some things out. And both performed well. So we're prepared. Could be all three of them. Hopefully not. Hopefully just one guy starts and finishes. But we'll be ready with all three guys, and they've all responded real well.
Going into the season, running back was maybe your deepest position, and it's a good thing because it seems like every week somebody gets dinged up and is missing. Now, tell us who you got back this week, and you were mentioning that Terrell Washington probably won't play on Saturday.
Yeah, he came out of the game, last game out, he came out with an ankle, and that's still sore, so I don't think he'll be able to go this week. To your point, the first point is, we thought we had some depth there and had a lot of guys that were good candidates. And from my vantage point, it was going to take playing in games, like a lot of positions, game time performance to really figure out what our depth was and who can do what best and those types of things. And the way it's materialized so far this year is that, if you're healthy, you're playing. So it's as simple as that. We haven't had a lot of options or choices, but for this week's lineup right now, we've got Kamari back. Good to get him back last time out, and certainly he's a good player. Excited about that. Xavier Williams is back and practiced well both last week and this week, and so that's encouraging certainly. And then Nathan McNeil, who's a true freshman, has kind of been thrust into the rotation a little bit, and the good news is he's looked really impressive since he's gotten here in January. Not that we were practicing football then, but whether it was just how he's handling his academics, basically doing all things college guys do, and then workouts, and then at one point we got into spring practice. Every step along the way he's done just fine, and it doesn't seem like any of it's too big for him. And I don't know how many snaps he's played now. I guess I should know that, but he's played a significant amount of snaps right now, and again, looks really comfortable out there in the game field.
Good.
So, that's our top three guys right now, and then we'll just kind of play it out after that.
All right. We're going to take a break, come back with more, and Coach Ferentz. When we come back, we'll get the scouting report on Wisconsin. We'll talk a little Hawkeye defense with Aaron Graves, and more ahead here on Hawk Talk. We're live at View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City, and we're sponsored by Iowa Corn. And throughout the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series, Iowa Corn promotes honest, hardworking values that are uniquely Iowan, unique to Iowa's corn farmers. And on behalf of our Hawkeye State corn farmers, we salute all athletes for their hard work and determination to be the best both on and off the field, and boast too. Just like our top athletes, our state leads the nation in corn and ethanol production. You just need to go to iowacorn.org, iowacorn.org. Learn how corn grows Iowa. Hawkeye football and Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz is sponsored by Steel. Get your yard ready for fall. The colors are changing. The proven power of Steel. From cleanups to cutbacks, we've got the tools to help you win the weekend. Steel, proud supporter of the Iowa Hawkeyes. We'll also go to Twitter, Facebook, email, and your text messages for Kirk when we come back to View Rooftop at the top of the Hilton Garden Inn, downtown Iowa City. And Coach Ferentz show from Learfield.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Let's break it down. Innovative tech means smarter and safer driving. Intelligent all-wheel drive will keep you ready for anything. And built Ford tough trucks will always get the job done. Plus, come into your local Ford store today and get super low APR financing, big cash back, and great lease offers on Ford's full line of cars, trucks, and SUVs. That's Ford, and that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on calendar year sales.
Hi, Hawk fans. Coach Kirk Ferentz here. For 40 years, our players have proudly worn the ANF logo to honor the hardworking farmers who keep this country growing. With fewer farmers working the land, their challenges are bigger, but their commitment never wavers. The Iowa Hawkeyes and the Iowa Farm Bureau are proud to stand with these dedicated families who feed and fuel our nation. Thanks for celebrating 40 years of America Needs Farmers. Let's keep standing strong for the people who keep us going strong. To learn more, visit americaneedsfarmers.org.
At Mid-American Energy, our 1.6 million customers depend on our energy 24/7. That's why we work 24/7 to deliver the safe, reliable energy you need. To keep our 99.9% reliability record, we're enhancing our technology, improving resiliency, and investing in critical infrastructure. We're generating power from all available resources to cover any increases in demand. And we're innovating to ensure you always have the energy you need. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Cancer doesn't care. It doesn't care what you look like, how old you are, what you do, or where you live. We do. University of Iowa Healthcare is doing more to beat cancer than anyone in the state. From second opinions to life-saving treatments that happen here first. We lead the way in research, training, and care because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
Hawkeye fans, be sure to visit and connect with the official local business partners of the Iowa Hawkeyes. The Jill Armstrong team with Skogman Realty, Big Ten Rentals, and Tomlinson Cannon. Jill Armstrong and her team strive to make every buyer and seller at ease with the real estate process. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, contact the Jill Armstrong team with Skogman Realty for all your real estate needs. Call 319-631-5455.
Your Iowa Hawkeye volleyball team is serving up Big Ten excitement this fall at Extreme Arena.
Winning Stahl catches the back line. The Hawks win it 25-21, and they take it in straight sets.
With fast-paced action and fun for the whole family, Iowa volleyball is the perfect way to spend an evening. Season tickets are on sale now. You won't want to miss out.
And that'll go for a block.
For more information on tickets and the 2025 season, check out HawkeyeSports.com.
The head coach is alongside here at View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn. Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz. Thank you all for tuning in tonight and, of course, for being here. And you're welcome to come on out each and every Wednesday night. Ask the coach a question yourself if you'd like. And, Kirk, on that note, let's go to Twitter before we talk a little Wisconsin Badger football. Mitch is up in Clear Lake. What is Coach's thoughts on adding more technology to sports like balls and strikes and MLB and the line to gain laser in football? I think does the NFL have that? I think they do, but the technology is changing almost every 24 hours anyway.
Yeah, it really is. If you just hang around long enough, something's going to change for sure. And I haven't seen a lot of NFL football this year. Just haven't had that opportunity, but that's not a bad idea. Sometimes it's almost impossible to spot the ball, especially on the short yardage stuff. It's and I know they review it and all that, but it's really hard to see, and it's hard for the officials to see it from the sideline. Just there's a lot of bodies and what have you, so that might be something to consider. I don't know, and I apologize. I'm watching the end of the Cubs game here over your shoulder.
Cubs just won.
Yeah, so my point there is I haven't seen a lot of baseball yet either. I did watch couple just flipping channels last week during the bye week, and God, I'm amazed how anybody can hit the ball. These guys are so good throwing the ball.
They're all 98, 99 miles an hour.
It's unreal.
And for those of you who don't know, Kirk is a huge baseball fan. You grew up in Pittsburgh, loved the Pirates since you were a wee lad. In fact, he almost had a health setback here. He was watching the Cub game and saw the name Keller on the back of the Cub relief pitcher. He thought maybe the Pirates traded Mitch Keller
Never know.
to the Cubs. Yeah, Cubs would love to have him. As Bob Brooks used to say, the Cedar Rapidian. But no, that's a different Keller. But so the Cubs win at 4-3 over the Brewers. They get that first win in that best of 5, and Game 4, I assume, is tomorrow, and they'll move on. The Yankees in Toronto, when last we checked, were 1-1. At Yankee Stadium. Earlier today, Detroit beat Seattle 9-3. And later tonight, the Dodgers hosting the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, for somebody who grew up in Pittsburgh, do you care what goes on in Philadelphia, or?
No, not at all. I mean, it's I don't mean it.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
It's funny, when I went to Connecticut to go to college, somebody'd always ask you, hey, do you know so and so? No, not really. Where did he grow up? And they'd name a town in eastern Pennsylvania. And
I always got a kick out of that because in Connecticut, nothing from our campus, nothing was more than an hour away.
Sure.
And, Pittsburgh and Philly back in those
Quite
days.
a ways.
Yeah, 4.5 hour, 5 right on the turnpike. So, New Englanders don't quite get that. Everything's so close and compact up there. But, yeah, no, I was never a Philly fan in any sport, especially the 76ers, only because I preferred Bill Russell. I was not a Wilt Chamberlain guy.
You grew up a Celtic fan, I know
defense
that.
over scoring, so, take it any day.
Oh, what a great era for the Celtics. Well, Don Nelson was on those teams.
Absolutely.
The great Bob Cousy, the Hall of Fame guard, and in later years, Larry Bird. But, Russell was the linchpin for Coach Auerbach and all those championships that the Celtics won. 76ers have great history as well, and our good buddy Nick Nurse is the head coach of the 76ers. And,
I'm all for Nick Nurse. I'm huge on that one. But
and Nick Nurse is all for Coach Ferentz, I can tell you. All right, let's take a couple more here off Twitter or Facebook. Coach, Steve's in Fort Madison. Is a team coming out of a bye week more prepared for its next opponent than a regular week-to-week game? I wonder if there are any stats historically that speak to that category.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's really interesting how you handle bye weeks, and that's, I've obviously done this for a while, right? At this point, and that's one thing I just constantly am interested in what people do for bye weeks. That and how you handle preseason camp are always two things that always intrigue me and fascinate me. But the bye week one especially, and the first guy, I don't think anybody in the world has a better record coming off a bye week than an Andy Reid coached team, whether it be Philly and now Kansas City. Their record is ridiculous. And from what I understand, they just take the entire week off. So,
wow.
so much for that idea of getting a jump on your opponent. But the way we've kind of settled in, we don't overdo it with our preparation, because I think the one thing you don't want to do is have your team fatigued. When I mean mentally fatigued in terms of the prep, where they're not intrigued, I guess. You just worry about that a little bit. And during the season, you get into a real rhythm, and there's a way you do things. So I'm always a little bit leery about expanding it too far. And then conversely, you get these, Friday night games, and all of a sudden you're on a 4-day schedule instead of a 5-day. And that's a whole different deal. But so anyway, a lot of variables. And then now in the new world of college football, night football seems to be a new trend, since we play 5 out of our first 7 at night. And
how about that? That's never happened before.
It's just a sign of the times, and that's not a big deal if you're at home. But when you're on the road, it really matters, because you're getting home at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
This coming week will be between 2 and 3. We get back to campus, and then you're on a plane trip, and it's 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. So a lot of things do. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but to that point, there's a lot of different ways to handle it. We basically get an extra day of like introductory work, if you will, and but don't want to wear it out. And really didn't talk much about the game plan until Sunday with our team. Normally that would be a day looking backwards, but that was our first day looking forwards.
Go out and execute game to game. Hawks in Wisconsin, 6 o'clock, by the way, on Saturday night. Our pregame coverage starts at 4 here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. John Deere loves to see the Hawks do their thing, because if anyone can appreciate building a legacy, it's Deere. They've been growing their winning team since 1837. So whether you're cultivating the earth with a tractor or reshaping it with a 40-ton excavator, nothing runs like a Deere. And how about tailgating at Kinnick? There's nothing better. Literally, you can tailgate at Kinnick now with the Kinnick Premium Tailgate Package presented by Navigate Wellbeing Solutions. That includes your tent, parking, cooler, and tables, all set up in Krause Family Plaza. It's waiting for you when you arrive. What better deal than that? Just steps from kickoff. Don't miss it. All you need to do is go to HawkeyeSports.com/tailgate. That's HawkeyeSports.com/tailgate. You can see the Hawks arrive off the bus almost right next door to you on game day Saturday when you are a part of the Kinnick Premium Tailgates. We'll take a break, come back, and talk Wisconsin football. That's Saturday's opponent with Coach Ferentz in just a minute here on Hawk Talk from View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn in Learfield.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Let's break it down. Innovative tech means smarter and safer driving. Intelligent all-wheel drive will keep you ready for anything. And built Ford tough trucks will always get the job done. Plus, come into your local Ford store today and get super low APR financing, big cash back, and great lease offers on Ford's full line of cars, trucks, and SUVs. That's Ford, and that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on calendar year sales.
Iowa fans, with US Mode from U.S. Cellular, you can keep your eye on the game, not on your screen. Whether you're inside the stadium, tailgating in the lots, or listening to the game at home, U.S. Cellular wants you to focus on genuine connections with your family, friends, and fellow Hawkeye fans. That means at game time, you should do less growling and more cheering. So eliminate distractions and build connections by setting your phone to US Mode, because game day is for cheering on the Hawkeyes. Go Hawks! U.S. Cellular, built for us.
Hello, Iowa. Here's a promise. Wherever you are in this great state, University of Iowa Healthcare is here for you, even if you never walk through our doors. Educating, caring, leading research, sharing our expertise with all. Because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
Hi, Hawk fans. Coach Kirk Ferentz here. For 40 years, our players have proudly worn the ANF logo to honor the hardworking farmers who keep this country growing. With fewer farmers working the land, their challenges are bigger, but their commitment never wavers. The Iowa Hawkeyes and the Iowa Farm Bureau are proud to stand with these dedicated families who feed and fuel our nation. Thanks for celebrating 40 years of America Needs Farmers. Let's keep standing strong for the people who keep us going strong. To learn more, visit americaneedsfarmers.org.
We love it when the Hawkeyes do their thing, because if there's anyone who can appreciate building a legacy, it's John Deere. We've been growing our team since 1837, recruiting the best thinkers, doers, and makers to craft innovations that outpace the competition. Because whether it's cultivating the earth with a tractor or reshaping it with a 40-ton excavator, the machines we build are building America. Nothing runs like a Deere.
The Iowa Soccer Complex is home to one of the best programs in the country, the Iowa Hawkeyes. With free admission and parking, Iowa Soccer is one of the best family-friendly options around. The fast-paced action is sure not to disappoint. Find a match that works for you. View our 2025 schedule at HawkeyeSports.com.
Hawk Talk with Iowa football coach Kirk Ferentz rolls along tonight. You can reach us on Facebook at facebook.com/Voice of the Hawks. Question for Coach. On Twitter at Gary Dolphin. The U.S. Cellular text line has Tim waiting there. 319-853-8344. 319-853-8344. And on Hawk Talk, you can email us to hawktalk@HawkeyeRadioNetwork.com. Tim on the U.S. Cellular text line says, Coach, in recent years, many schools have decided to have a staff member dedicated exclusively to in-game clock management duties. Do we have that at Iowa?
Not specifically one person, but we have a couple guys that are, chipping in on it, and it makes a lot of sense. I know in the NFL that's really common. And it's not only clock management, but just different circumstances and, go for it on two, that type of thing. But, yeah, we have two guys that are involved in that besides Tim and myself. So typically it's more on the offensive side and when you talk about the clock stuff. But, at the end of a game, too, I mean, when do you burn your timeouts, that type of thing. Indiana, in our last game, they burned theirs before the 2-minute stoppage. And, they roll the dice that way. So there's different approaches to it and a lot of different opinions about the whole thing. But, to answer the question, we definitely – it's not just on my shoulders.
Good question, Tim. All right, Coach, let's talk Wisconsin Badgers and this great rivalry historically, playing for the Heartland Bowl trophy. It's a border battle. The Big Ten's all about these great rivalry trophy games. Where do you start with Wisconsin on offense? They've had a lot of injuries at the quarterback position. Iowa's certainly not immune to that down through the years, so you know how disruptive that can be. Billy Edwards we're familiar with. He started out his career at Maryland, got hurt when Iowa played out there. He was leading the Big Ten in passing when we faced him at Maryland a year or so ago.
Yeah, he's a really good quarterback, and when I think about him, I go back a couple of years ago, both against Michigan and Ohio State when he was at Maryland. He was not the starter, or at least they were rotating guys, or maybe his injuries back then. But wasn't last year; it was before that. And both against Ohio State and Michigan, he had the Maryland team in position to win both times, and I remember him being very, very impressed. I was like, who's this guy? And then we get to play against him last year. Came out of the game with an injury, and he's had some injury issues, obviously, and apparently that's the deal this year. I think he's got a knee sprain or what have you, but he's only played a handful of snaps in 2 games, so I'm not sure what his status is. It wouldn't shock me if he plays Saturday. If it does, we better be ready because he's a really good football player.
Hunter Simmons went the distance against Michigan last week. Young lad started his career out at Southern Illinois. What do you like about Hunter Simmons?
Yeah, he's a Chicagoland guy, and went to Southern, as you mentioned. And, so his first couple games, it was basically Edwards and then the O'Neal guy. And O'Neal's a Midwest kid, too. He's all from the Indy area, I believe, Indianapolis area. Went to San Diego State, and he's a really athletic guy, run pass threat. And then moving back to answer your question, Simmons is more of a, if you want to call it traditional, but more of a drop back type guy, bigger guy, good thrower. And I thought he looked really good Saturday. And I don't want to speak for them. They've got a new coordinator on offense, so they're. I think 2 things are going on there. It's new to the coordinator and vice versa. So, he's trying to learn about his team, what they are, and all of us do that. You go through the first couple of games, you're trying to figure out what your personnel can do and not do. But my guess is what we saw last weekend is probably the direction they're leaning. Just guessing, and they moved the ball really well against Michigan first drive, took it right down the field, and it was 12, 13 plays. So. Relied heavily on the run, big surprise, Wisconsin team. And they're a big physical team at every position, offense and defense. So, again, a big surprise. Imagine that, a Wisconsin team being big and physical.
Up front especially.
Yeah, they are. So they're, we're going to have our work cut out for us. We better be ready to go.
Their featured running back, you mentioned the running game, is Dylan Jones. Now, he's a redshirt freshman from out Maryland way, 210 pounds at 6 feet. That's typically the way they grow them in that Wisconsin program. They have other guys. Darian Dupree has played a lot, but they kept feeding Dylan Jones last week at the Michigan game. You're going to get a healthy dose of the run game when you play Wisconsin.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's kind of risen. Both those guys played a lot, and Dupree's a guy we tried to recruit. We couldn't really get him too interested in us, but very highly recruited player. So both he and Jones are both very, very capable, and they're tough physical runners.
When they throw the ball, Vinny Anthony out on the flat, a senior veteran guy from Louisville. He's got 21 catches, a touchdown, averaging 12, 13 yards a catch. You got to know where he's at.
He's their leading receiver, and they've got a good group of receivers too. So their skill positions are, more than talented. Both receivers and the running back slot, and then they've got a tight end they got from, I believe, Missouri State, who's done very, very well for him too. He's really fit in and is their primary guy. But again, another guy in the passing game who's a threat.
Coach, defensively, historically they run a 3-man front with 4 backers. Typically they'll send a guy up either side from one of those linebackers to make it a 4-man look. But what are they doing this year defensively?
Yeah, they kind of shifted philosophically when Coach Fickle came and went to more of a 4-man front. And I think the story there is the difference of the personnel and players. They were very active in the recruiting portal this past transfer portal this past out of season, and that was one of the things that was you heard coming out of their camp was they wanted to increase their size, get bigger and more physical on defense, and they've done that. Lot of new players in the front 4. Some familiar faces too. 17's a familiar face certainly. 22's been a really good pickup. He's a guy from I think he's from Indianapolis too, but he played at Louisville. Really active guy. So. And then inside 68, used to be an offensive lineman. He played defense last year. He's a really big, just a guy that is really tough to move. And they've added 31's a guy transferred from LSU. But one thing you'll notice, they'll play about in the front four. They'll play two deep, probably 8 to 11 guys. They really rotate them through, try to keep their guys fresh. And then I think the other thing if you look at the front four, you've got to also include the 2 inside backers because they're compared to last year, they're more big, more size oriented, and more physical downhill type guys too. So last year's guys were more athletic, and so I think they've really made a commitment to being a stronger team against the run. It's paid off for them. They're I think 6th in the country right now against the rush, so they've done a really good job in that regard. And Michigan had some yards, but it really came down to 3 plays that they popped. They caught them on a draw and caught them on another play. So it's, they've done a really good job of improving their run defense.
Statistically, the Wisconsin defense, it's always good, but it's really good again this year. Darrell Peterson is the young man you referred to earlier out of Akron, Ohio. And Christian Allegro, he's been around a couple of years, a solid junior from Connecticut. Ben Barton, the former offensive lineman, now defensive lineman, 6'5", 330.
He's a full day's work.
Yeah, farm boy from Stratford, Wisconsin. In the back end, they always seem to be athletic in the secondary. Man, they got by that I mean 6 foot 1 inch guys with long arms.
Yep.
So they play like they're 6'5".
They do, and going back up front, and then I'll transition to what you're talking about. But the outside backer, 59. Was a defensive end last year, and he's, we tried to recruit him too.
Aaron Witt.
Probably 6'5", I'm guessing, 250.
He's from Winona, up the river, Winona, Minnesota.
A little bigger than your average outside linebacker, so they're just big at every position, and then he'll rotate. If he comes off the field, number 1 comes in, going to the back end now, and that's their nickel back, and he's a real active tackler too. But, yeah, they got good cover corners, and their safeties are big physical guys that are going to get involved in the run game as well. A lot of single safety stuff back there.
Camp Randall Stadium, it'll be rocking. It always is for the Heartland Trophy, Iowa, Wisconsin, 6 o'clock Saturday night, 4 o'clock for our pregame coverage here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Iowa and Wisconsin not only play on the field this weekend, but another important competition is underway off the field that can have a life-changing impact. This week, the Hawkeyes and the Badgers are competing in Abbott and the Big Ten's We Give Blood Weekly one-up challenge to see which school can drive the most blood donations. So if you're hearing this right now, wherever you donate blood, we need you to go online on behalf of the Hawkeyes at big10.org/Abbott, ABBOTT, big10.org/Abbott. Submit your donation. Let us know that you did that in favor of the Hawkeyes. Now, somebody's going to have a chance to win 2 tickets with pregame hospitality and sideline visit for the Oregon-Iowa game on November 8th at Kinnick Stadium, and an autographed merchandise package. So here's how you put points on the board for the Hawks. Show up to donate blood this week and up until the 10th of October. Submit your donation at big10.org/Abbott and help the Hawks win and get a chance to win a memorable campus experience for yourself. Did you know that every blood donation can save up to 3 lives? Help your Hawkeyes win, and you can also help save a life. Speaking of great stories, Coach, this week's University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital kid captain is 12-year-old Lily Sebastian of Cedar Rapids. I love that name, Lily.
Yep.
Always have. Born prematurely at just over 2 pounds with a rare abdominal birth defect, Lily spent nearly her entire first year at Stead Family Children's Hospital undergoing multiple surgeries, including her first just 1 day after birth, just 1 day old, and she had surgery. She also manages a chronic kidney disease and a heart condition, and continues to thrive with the support of her care team. Can you imagine somebody that small, that young, battling for her life every day of her yet young life? And we're looking at some video of her on KCRG 9.2, and she looks like a normal, happy youngster.
It's really amazing. Yeah. Surgery at 1 day, and I think it was 299 days she spent over in the hospital. But it's quite a story. I think, 2 pounds and 4 ounces at birth.
At birth.
So it's amazing, the stories that you hear. And as I understand, she's got a real good personality, a lot of spunk. She was sticking her tongue at you. I don't know if you knew that.
I missed that.
She was looking right at you and sticking her tongue out at you. But
thank you, Lily.
Yeah, and Bo Stevens, our left guard's actually got a connection to the family. And
oh, really? Great.
I think Bo and maybe a couple other guys are going to go up and see her tomorrow. They're going to do a little thing for her at school. So really neat.
That is terrific. I mean, it's such a great program beyond the health issues and the health story. And it's so great to see them evolve and grow and become as best they can healthy youngsters.
It's amazing. The work that the doctors, not only the doctors, the nurses, the therapists, there's so many people involved with, helping these kids and their families get through these tough times. And the common denominator, typically, the spirit of the kids is just amazing. So a lot of people that really care about what they're doing, and they do a wonderful job. And, you have to give credit to everybody involved, the patients, the families, and then certainly the medical care experts.
And the kids don't know any different. They just want to play, have fun.
They're kids.
Root for the Hawks.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. They're just straight ahead.
Great story. And again, as each week it is with the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital Kid Captain. All right, we'll take a break, come back with more here from View Rooftop at the top of the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Iowa City with Coach Ferentz. We'll go back to your questions on Facebook and Twitter right after this pause in Learfield.
Tournament Club of Iowa, designed by golf legend Arnold Palmer. TCI is his only signature course in the state. TCI is a public course offering a challenging yet enticing experience for golfers of all levels and is managed by Kaler Golf. Cap off your round with breathtaking views and a delicious meal at the TCI Bar and Grill. Looking for a unique setting for your wedding party or outing? Look no further than the newly renovated clubhouse at TCI. Visit tcofiowa.com to book your tee time today.
Fall's the season for game plans and for powering through your to-do list with Steel. Whether you're mulching leaves or trimming back before winter, Steel tools help you finish strong. Trusted by pros, built for you. Steel, proud supporter of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Cancer doesn't care. It doesn't care what you look like, how old you are, what you do, or where you live. We do. University of Iowa Healthcare is doing more to beat cancer than anyone in the state. From second opinions to life-saving treatments that happen here first. We lead the way in research, training, and care because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
Can you think of anything that costs the same today as it did 10 years ago? There isn't much. That is, unless you're a Mid-American Energy customer. Thanks to all the renewable energy we're generating, our customers pay nearly the same rate for electricity today as they did back when we were all singing, "Call Me Maybe." And with Mid-American making even more investments in clean energy, you can count on enjoying those same affordable rates for the next decade. Now that's obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
As a program, we're always working to compete at the highest level on the field. The Flight Fund is a great opportunity for our fans to contribute directly to our football program, which will benefit our student athletes and all involved with Hawkeye football. Contributions to the Flight Fund will enable us to continue to attract and retain the highest quality prospective players to keep our program in a position to compete at a championship level.
Iowa fans, with US Mode from US Cellular, you can keep your eye on the game, not on your screen. Whether you're inside the stadium, tailgating in the lots, or listening to the game at home, US Cellular wants you to focus on genuine connections with your family, friends, and fellow Hawkeye fans. That means at game time, you should do less scrolling and more cheering. So eliminate distractions and build connections by setting your phone to US Mode, because game day is for cheering on the Hawkeyes. Go Hawks! US Cellular, built for us.
Hawkeyes and the Badgers Saturday from Camp Randall in Madison, Wisconsin. 6 o'clock kickoff, 4 o'clock for the pregame show here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Gary Dolphin back with Coach Ferentz and our remaining moments at View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City at the Hilton Garden Inn. Let's go to Facebook, Coach, at facebook.com/Voice of the Hawks. And Don is in Macomb, Illinois, when Reese Vandersea rejoins the offense, which he's available this weekend, Don, if you missed it earlier. Will opposing defenses focus on him and create difficulty to get open now that he is back as a primary target? Well, you hope he's not the only primary target.
Yeah, the other guys have done, I think, a really nice job, and just seeing improvement weekly with pretty much everybody at that position, so that's certainly encouraging. It's been a process, but I think over the last 2 years, the guys have really worked at it, and John Budmeier's done a nice job bringing the guys along. So seeing a lot of growth there. And but, yeah, it certainly hurt. What everybody saw of Reese last year was just kind of scratching the surface. He missed most of August camp a year ago. So he was learning as he was going along. And certainly he's a very promising prospect. He's a big athletic guy, great attitude, works extremely hard. So it's good to get him back working. He's hardly at full speed right now in terms of hasn't built up a lot of volume. So we're going to be smart and judicious about how much he plays. But having him in there, certainly anytime you have a good player in there, it just adds to the mix. And it's true at every position. So the more guys, the better. And certainly we'd like to have the guys that, we consider to be 2D players available. So it's just good to have them back in there. And hopefully it's all going to be good things forward now.
Larry in Sioux City on Facebook. I haven't seen or heard much of anything about Los Epinesa so far this season, Coach. Is the plan to redshirt him? How's he progressing so far in practice during his first season as a Hawkeye? Well, he's been in for a few plays.
He has, and we'll take it a day at a time with him. Great young guy, great prospect, and really good football player. I think sometimes, and people underestimate, recruiting. There's so much attention in recruiting nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
And it's become an industry and just, all that stuff, which is fine. But I think sometimes real unrealistic expectations get created, and really caution people, especially with linemen, offense and defensive linemen. No matter how good you are in high school, when you get to college, it's a little different. That's where the age and experience really show up, typically. Not all the time, but typically, and things happen fast in there. So, you really, in my mind, typically you kind of learn how to be a good defensive lineman or a good offensive lineman, maybe more so than other positions. And typically it takes a little time. And USA's doing a great job. He's going to be a really good football player, making progress every day. It's funny, Reese Morgan and I were talking about him this morning, coincidentally. So just really like what we see from him. And we're not planning on redshirting anybody if they can help us win. So if he can get into the mix, which I wouldn't rule it out, he'll be playing.
So there you go, Larry in Sioux City. Now you know about the latest with, you talk about a legacy family, the Epinesa family with Epi and Hayden going back 30, 40 years. Remarkable feeder system just from the Epinesa family. All right, we got one more break to work in here. We'll come back in a minute and wrap up this week's show with Coach Ferentz live from View Rooftop. View Rooftop is a high-energy rooftop bar with spectacular views of downtown Iowa City, featuring a distinctly modern escape filled with a unique outdoor design. View Rooftop is located on the 12th floor of the Hilton Garden Inn, and with specials on Hawkeye football game days, View Rooftop provides that memorable experience of food, music, and fantastic views of the Iowa City skyline. How about this weekend when the Hawks are at Madison? If you're not going to the game, call 319-519-4650. 319-519-4650. Set up your View Rooftop reservation. Back with our remaining moments and Coach Ferentz right after this pause on Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz from Learfield.
At Mid-American Energy, our 1.6 million customers depend on our energy 24/7. That's why we work 24/7 to deliver the safe, reliable energy you need. To keep our 99.9% reliability record, we're enhancing our technology, improving resiliency, and investing in critical infrastructure. We're generating power from all available resources to cover any increases in demand. And we're innovating to ensure you always have the energy you need. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Iowa fans, with US Mode from US Cellular, you can keep your eye on the game, not on your screen. Whether you're inside the stadium, tailgating in the lots, or listening to the game at home, US Cellular wants you to focus on genuine connections with your family, friends, and fellow Hawkeye fans. That means at game time, you should do less scrolling and more cheering. So eliminate distractions and build connections by setting your phone to US Mode, because game day is for cheering on the Hawkeyes. Go Hawks! US Cellular, built for us.
Fall's the season for game plans and for powering through your to-do list with Steel. Whether you're mulching leaves or trimming back before winter, Steel tools help you finish strong. Trusted by pros, built for you. Steel, proud supporter of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
You asked for all the extreme internet performance at an all-in price, and we listen. Get 1 gig internet with a 2-year price lock and everything included. Unlimited data for non-stop streaming, powerful Wi-Fi for enhanced coverage, built-in online threat protection, and internet equipment. All for just $65 a month for 2 years. It's the extreme 1 gig internet deal you asked for. Call 844-4FASTER or visit extreme.com for details. Offer available to new customers only. Price doesn't include one-time charges, tax, and government fees.
Hawkeye fans, be sure to visit and connect with the official local business partners of the Iowa Hawkeyes, the Banks Student Living and Kirkwood Hotel. Come home to luxury living at the Banks Student Living, located just minutes from the U of I, with a 24/7 fitness center, resort-style pool, sauna, private study rooms, and so much more. Studio to 4-bedroom floor plans available. It's time to find your future home by visiting thebanksiowa.com or calling 319-249-6575 today.
All right, we're back for our remaining moments with Iowa football coach Kirk Ferentz on Hawk Talk. We'll be back next Wednesday at 6:30. Iowa, Wisconsin, 6 o'clock for the kickoff on Saturday night at Camp Randall. And if you're going to the game, want to listen to the Hawkeye Radio Network, tune your headset to 103.7 FM if you're in the stadium. 103.7 FM. Coach, I don't want to leave without mentioning the 1985 reunion team. By the way, our Fight for Iowa podcast this week features Hawkeye great quarterback Chuck Long, and you can find that at HawkeyeSports.com. But over 100 members of that team, coaches and players, came back. I think that speaks volumes of the respect that 1985 team brought. It was so much more than just a number 1 ranked football team.
Yeah, it was just, what a story. Just the whole season was a great story, certainly. And, what a great group of guys, too, just to make that happen. Most of those guys were freshmen on the team, the 81 team that went to the Rose Bowl. And not many were playing, obviously, but they learned and really helped build the start of the foundation of this whole program. Going back 45 years ago. So great to have them back, great to have them honored and celebrated out there. And on a personal note, it was cool to, Dan McCarney was back as our honorary captain.
Right.
We sat next to each other for 9 years in staff meetings. Barry Alvarez came back. Don Patterson, I saw Don today and talked to Carl Jackson on the phone this afternoon. And, just all those guys were all part of that. Just a lot of great people coming together, and it was just a magical season.
Sure was. 10-2, Big Ten championship. And Kirk Ferentz was the young offensive line coach of that team.
Had dark hair back then, yep.
And you had hair.
Yeah, exactly.
You and I both. All right, Coach, see you in Madison Saturday.
Sounds good.
That's it for Hawk Talk tonight, live from View Rooftop. Thank you, View Rooftop. Thank you, Hawk fans, for coming out tonight. And go Hawks. We'll talk Saturday from Madison at 4 o'clock. Good night.
This has been Hawk Talk, brought to you by Steel. This fall, power up with Steel, a proud supporter of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. U.S. Cellular, the official wireless partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes. U.S. Cellular, built for us. Iowa corn. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Brought to you by Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. Also brought to you by your Iowa John Deere dealers. John Deere loves to see the Hawkeyes do their thing, because if anyone can appreciate building a legacy, it's Deere. By your local Ford dealers. University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Lennox and your local Lennox home comfort specialist, made right here in Iowa since 1895. And by Mid-American Energy. Mid-American Energy is proud to deliver affordable, reliable energy to you all season long. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.